Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Michael, and we're going to be getting right back into some more Reddit stories. If you enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Now, without further ado, let's begin. This story was posted by a throwaway account in the relationship advice subreddit. The post is titled, "My husband thinks I baby trapped him despite the baby being planned. My husband and I have been married for 7 years. He lived next door and we just clicked. It was like a fairy tale. One thing I've always thought made our marriage so strong was our friendship with each other and our trust in one another, although now my husband seems to think otherwise. Recently, my husband found out that his friend, Jeff, has been baby trapped. Basically, Jeff's wife stopped taking the pill and fell pregnant a few months into their relationship, and only came clean after the wedding. Jeff came from a very conservative family, which his wife knew, and so he felt obligated to marry her after the pregnancy. Unfortunately, he also now feels obligated to stay, regardless of the clearly messed up dynamic, because he feels that he has made a vow and will stick by his wife and child. My husband, for some reason, has been really rattled by this. I am currently 4 months pregnant with our first, and my husband asked me yesterday if I was trying to baby trap him. I first laughed because I honestly thought it was a joke. He was dead serious and doubled down, so I told him that we have already been married for 7 years and a baby was not going to trap him any more than he already is. My husband did not like that answer and said that there was no time limit on baby trapping, and that my intentions were clearly not pure given how I was acting as if his concerns were a joke. He said he had trusted me in the past, but me laughing in his face gave him no reason to trust me now. I did not really know what he wanted or how I was meant to respond, and I said we should talk about this in the morning. Today I woke up and my husband was gone, but I did have a nasty text from his brother saying that I had forced my husband into this pregnancy, despite it having been a joint decision. My husband is MIA and not responding to calls or texts, and now I'm wondering how on earth to go forward. Any advice is appreciated. Update. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to post here again, but I wanted to quickly update everyone who was kind enough to give me some advice. I didn't respond to anyone because my post was locked quite quickly, but I have read every single comment and message. I am very grateful. I realized while I was reading the comments that everyone was right. I wasn't angry enough. My husband had insulted me and our marriage in a very hurtful way, and it just didn't really register for a while. I was so confused and upset that it didn't occur to me to be angry, but I think everything just needed to sink in. In the meantime, I called my best friend who has been such a rock in my life. She came over with some chocolate and was furious when she heard the story. She called her husband to the house after I had gotten everything out of my system. He is a family lawyer and he said that he would happily represent me if I wanted to go through with a divorce. This man is a saint and he will draw up the divorce papers on Monday. My mother-in-law showed up with my husband in the car not long after my best friend's husband arrived, and she practically dragged him to the door. My mother-in-law said that he had shown up at their place late last night saying that he was certain I was using the baby to trap him. Fortunately, my mother-in-law is a smart woman and absolutely tore him apart before dragging him to the house today to apologize. My husband, who is essentially a coward, did not look me in the eye the entire time, but said that he was scared about becoming a dad and projected his fears onto me. He said he wasn't sure if he was ready for that kind of commitment, but he will step up. I called him a coward and told him that he should stay with his parents until I am ready to talk to him. I didn't want to say anything about the divorce papers because I didn't know what his reaction would be, but he will find out soon enough. I also showed my mother-in-law the text from my brother-in-law and her face was like a storm cloud. I don't know what will happen there, but I am sure it will be bad. For now, I am exhausted and just want to curl up and cry. My best friend has said she'll spend the night with me and we can watch silly movies. I've also made an appointment with a therapist for next week, but for now, I just need to rest. I am exhausted and devastated that my marriage has come crumbling down. Sorry for the sad ending. User Soviet Potata said, "Wow, imagine just ruining your entire marriage like that. I do not have the words." Imagine his buddy hearing that his friend sabotaged his entire marriage because of what the buddy endured. He'd likely be confused since OP's husband had agreed to have a baby. User Fat Amy Cheeks said, "I feel bad for OP. Imagine finding out who your husband really is when you're pregnant. She's the trapped one in this situation." This next post was made in the True Off My Chest subreddit by a user named Bob Haircut Alice. The post is titled, "I'm going to marry her one true love. I was an affair baby between my mom and dad. My mom was already married to my stepdad and had my half-sister, whose name will be R. R has always hated me for some unknown reason. I never gave her any reasons to hate me as we grew up together, she just did. Growing up, I spent more time with my mom than my dad, who traveled a lot due to his work. But when he was in town, I always took the opportunity. It was the only time I could be away from my stepdad, and RR would always do terrible things to me. She would destroy my things, gifts, and souvenirs my dad would send by mail would go in the trash. It was so bad that when I was going to enter high school, she cut off my hair while I was sleeping, and I had to get a bob hairstyle which reached my chin, my nose if styled. My mom scolded her, and my stepdad enabled her even more, patting her on the back for a good job when mom wasn't looking. In high school, I was in a graphic design class, and that's how I met R's one true love. At first, I didn't know. I would stay after school to finish my in-class assignments for that class, and he would be there to use the computers to do some drawing he had saved on the computer. The computer he used was right next to mine, so we sat together when I would stay. We spoke once where he said he liked my hairstyle. I was the only girl in school with really short hair, so I did stand out a bit. One day, my sister came to spy on him, and she was furious seeing me sitting next to him. She was so mad that when we got home, she slapped me on the face, accusing me of wanting to steal him. After that incident, I tried to stay away from him, not wanting to deal with her craziness. Thankfully, I only had to endure her for another year before she went off to college. My first year of college, my dad was diagnosed with terminal cancer and was told he had that year to live. My mother got the news and told my stepdad, and RR in response sent me a video she took from a TV show I've been told was called Shameless, where there's a blonde girl peeing on a man's tombstone with a text saying, "Can't wait for that MF to be gone, have fun cleaning the mess I'm going to make." She then sent another pic which was poop. I was so furious and disgusted that someone like her existed, someone who would be so happy to see someone's life end. My second year was rough as my dad died a few days before school started. In the end, he left me with money that would help for the years to come and a few properties I rented to make extra cash. Wondering if she did it? Yup, sent another video for proof. Somehow, I feel karma was real at the time. A few weeks after that, I ended up bumping into the guy she was obsessed with when I went to hang out with my friend who went to the same college as him. We spoke briefly until my friend came and we left. A few days after that, my friend told me the guy she saw me with asked for my info, and she gave him my Snapchat, knowing if I didn't want to talk to him, she would give him an app I don't use anymore. I'm going to be honest. When she told me this, I so wanted to use him and get back at my sister, knowing how much she loved him. But I know how it feels to be hurt, and so I added him on Snapchat and texted him to meet me at a coffee shop. When we met at our local coffee shop, I was honest with him about why I reached out and told him how crazy R is. He wasn't surprised. He went on telling me the things she would pull on the girls he would talk to and how she would try to sabotage his relationships when they were in high school. She would tell them they slept together while he was speaking to or in a relationship with those girls, that she was having his kid, and even saying he had an STD. Yeah, she's nuts. To keep this short, we stayed friends for a few months before we started dating. We had a lot of similar hobbies and interests, and we think alike. He says it's the power of mind meld, seeing how we might as well be telepathic with one another. This year, we decided to get married and got engaged for 3. Our jobs pay us really well in our respective fields, allowing us to go big on our wedding. Now here comes R. Sadly, R still stalks my fiance. He isn't much of a social media person, so he doesn't post much, but when he does, it's on his Instagram story. He recently posted a picture of my hand with the engagement ring, captioning it, "After 3 years, next up the wedding ring." And yes, his Instagram is private, and he has her blocked, but there are a few people who tell her friends, and they tell her. It can't be helped. Some people live for the drama. I don't talk to my mom as much since she wasn't much help when my sister would bully me or when my stepdad belittled me, but I do call her once a month for a few minutes. She called me complaining about how R was throwing a tantrum about how Jay, my fiance, was engaged and that she didn't know who the B was. That's when I got the idea. I'm going to let her know who the B is. Don't worry, Jay is fine with this. I had R blocked on social media but unblocked her and made my Instagram public for this occasion. After unblocking her, I posted a picture of my nails without the ring. My nails were exactly the same as the picture he put on his story. A few days later, I posted inspiration pictures of wedding invitations. Guess who saw them? A few days after that, I posted a picture of myself with my friends dressed up with the caption, "My bridesmaids." A few hours later, Jay posted a picture with his groomsmen with no caption, but we had the same background from the restaurant where the picture was taken. And behold, I received messages on Instagram where she demanded to know if I was the girl Jay was going to marry. She said things like, "No, he can never like a girl like you, and you know how much he means to me." I left her on red. Yesterday, I posted a picture of the two of us. The pictures were taken on Saturday when we took his family out to inform them of our wedding plans and how they are officially invited with invitations given to them. I posted 3 pictures. One normal one from when we first started dating, one from when he proposed, and one from Saturday with his family holding up the invitation. The caption read, "Proud to announce I am getting married this year to the love of my life. Can't wait for a lifetime full of blessings alongside you." I received messages an hour after I posted that from R that I didn't read and calls from my mom, which I declined. Today, I went on Instagram and saw over 80 messages of insults from her, one being how ugly I looked with my short bob haircut, which I cut for this occasion. To that, I replied, "Interesting, Jay doesn't think so." Funny actually, he confessed to me after our second date that he thought my Alice Cullen haircut was what grabbed his attention back then. He thought I looked very cute. Guess you had a reason to feel threatened that time, as he found me attractive even then. After she read it, I made my account private and blocked her. Now I'm thinking about doing it again when we're getting married or changing my bio to his last name. Who knows? User Dark Thoughts said, "Don't make her being in deranged pain your source of happiness. It's not worth it in the long run, and you shouldn't mess around with someone who is crazy. You can't predict what they will do, and they will eventually surprise you." User MM said, "I think this is just one big toxic mess. It sucks that your half-sister and stepdad treated you horribly. Even though it's not your fault, you represent your mom's betrayal. It was never going to be sunshine and roses. Affair babies usually end marriages and destroy families. It's unfortunate that you grew up in a resentful, toxic household, but that doesn't mean you should stoop to their level. Instead of focusing on your future, do you want to be as awful and petty as they are? Rise above it and just enjoy your life. Live the best life you can. Don't taint it with this petty, toxic BS." This last post was made in the relationship advice subreddit by a user named Glittering Agent. The post is titled, "How do I make it clear to my GF that me and my female best friend are not in love? Me, GF, Melissa, best friend, Aria." I want to start this by saying I do not have any feelings for my best friend and see her as a little sister. Aria and I have been best friends since we were 3 or 4 years old. Our moms became best friends and often brought us along, so we grew up together. I see her as a little sister, and she has been there for me throughout my whole life. Melissa and I started dating a few months ago, but she has only recently begun complaining about Aria. Aria has always been nice to her and tries to be friends with her. For example, she always invites her when we hang out or when she goes out with other friends. Melissa always declines. At the start of our relationship, she never voiced these problems, so I thought everything was good. Recently, she tried to tell me that Aria has feelings for me and that I have feelings for her, but I keep reassuring her that isn't the case. However, she doesn't listen. Aria and I have been taking a break from each other because she doesn't want to ruin my relationship. Before anyone says anything, I do care about Melissa. I love her to bits and show it almost every day, but I feel hurt that she doesn't want me hanging out with Aria anymore, or at least less than we do. Aria and I hang out about twice a week. Let me also mention that Aria has a husband. They have been dating for 5 years and married for 2 of those years, but that still doesn't ease Melissa's mind. She just wants me to stop seeing her altogether. How can I make her see that I do not have any feelings for Aria and that I love her only? If Aria and I had feelings, we would have already acted on them, but that never happened. I see her as family. My mom thinks Melissa is overreacting. I do as well, but I don't want to lose her. She has already threatened to leave. How can I make it clear to her? I don't want to lose Melissa, but I also don't want to lose Aria. User fan of Life21 said, "The problem is, we all know the story of a friendship that became something more. I fell in love with my best friend, and luckily, we were both single. Even luckier still, somehow, he fell for me too. Liking someone a lot and knowing them really well is a strong foundation for romance, and it's hard for your partner to look past that." User Mama2Grace said, "My suggestion, only hang out with Aria when your girlfriend is around, maybe on double dates. That way your girlfriend can see the difference in how Aria acts around you versus her husband. Also, knowing that her husband is okay with it could help. If you approach it as wanting everyone to be friends and make sure Melissa feels included, it could help ease her concerns." Update. I want to first thank everyone who commented and sent a DM. Yesterday, I sat Melissa down and asked her if she wanted to meet Aria and her husband to talk. She was hesitant at first. I also found out why she was against me having Aria as a friend. See, her parents are divorced, but I never knew the reason. Her dad cheated when Melissa was 16 with her mom's friend. Because of that, she has never liked female best friends of guys she was seeing. I told her that she has nothing to worry about and that I only love her. I wanted her to see from Aria herself that nothing would happen between us. She agreed to meet. This would also be the first time she would be meeting Aria's husband, Jason. So today was the day of the meeting. We met up with them for lunch. When we arrived, Aria and Jason were already there. We had a pretty good talk. We discussed how we met and how long we've known each other. I also mentioned how I was the reason Jason asked her on a date since he was my work buddy at the time. Aria made sure to say that she understood Melissa's insecurities about our friendship and tried hard to reassure her that she had nothing to be scared of, that she was happy for us, and that she herself was happily married. Aria and Melissa talked among themselves while I chatted with Jason. I could see Melissa relax, and I felt genuinely happy that she was happy. After we came home, she told me that she trusts Aria more now and that they are planning to go out tomorrow. I understand that they are not going to be friends right away, but I can say that things are moving in the right direction. Thank you all for reading and helping me. I appreciate it. Edit, I wanted to clarify what I meant. Aria didn't mean that Melissa had to keep her insecurities to herself. She was more trying to calm her down and letting her know that she is happily married and doesn't have to worry about Aria and me falling in love, which will not happen. Melissa knows she can trust me, and if something is bothering her, then I want her to know that she can tell me. She can also talk to Aria if something is still bothering her.